Okay. Looks like we are live. This is the public organizational meeting of the Judicial Nominating Board for the 2023-2024 term. This is our first meeting of the year. My name is Ella Spotswood. I am the most recent chair of the nominating board. Our first order of business today is to elect our officers, including the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary. And I thought before we did that, since I don't know all of you yet, may not know each other, we might go around and do a quick round of introductions, the understanding that we are tight on time. So I'll ask you all just to say your name, how you came to be appointed to the board, what you do when you're not volunteering for the nominating board, and whether you've been on the board before. So I'll go first. Again, Ella Spotswood. I am one of the attorney members of the board elected by the bar. When I am not volunteering for the board, I am an attorney for the Attorney General's office. I'm in charge of the appeals over there. And I have been on the board now for 4 years. This will be my last term. So I'll go around the in-person room first, and then I'll call on the folks on Zoom. Jess, do you want to go next?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Jess Burke. I started a law firm about 12 years ago called Burke Law. We do criminal defense throughout the state. I have practiced in all 14 counties. I think I actually have active cases in all 14 counties right now. I have 6 other associates that work for me. We have offices in Burlington and in White River. So I'm heavily interested in the quality of our judges, and that is why I have sought this position. I'm really excited to work with all of you. And that is why I'm here, and I have not run before. I am the elected Northern member.
I'm Ken Goslant from Northfield. I'm a state rep in my spare time. I don't know if this is the start of my second term or if I finished part of another one, but anyway, I've been here 3 or 4 years. What else do you want to know?
What you do when you're not a rep or
I own my own granite business for 34 years as of this Friday. And in my spare time, I actually oversee another business. So,
thanks, Ken.
I am Ray Garofano. Nice to see you all. I'm a representative from Essex, and this is my first time. I was asked by the Speaker of the House. I help lead the Racial Equity Caucus. So the judges are very important to me. And I sit on the Human Services Committee when I'm here. And when I'm not here, I work for DCF, for state government. So excellent. Interesting dichotomy.
Yeah. All right. And moving to our virtual members. Barbara, I see you in the top corner. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Barbara Rachelson. I also am a House appointee to the committee. I represent Burlington's Chittenden 14 district. I serve on House Judiciary and Judicial Rules. And when I am not doing legislative stuff, I've been doing consulting and teaching at the University of Vermont and trying to have a life.
Thank you. And Barbara is a returning member of the board as well. Senator Norris, I see you next.
Hi, Bob Norris, Senator from Franklin District, to include 12 towns, along with 1 Elberg from Grand Isle County. I'm a retired law enforcement officer after 30 plus years of service. I basically have 10 grandchildren, 2 of which are with me today, and I'm watching cartoons with them. So we have 4 very large gardens, 4 children and 10 grandchildren, such as I said, and that was a appointed by the Committee of Committees to be on the board, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Denise?
Hi, everyone. I'm Denise Casey. I am a returning member. I'm a gubernatorial appointee. And when I'm not doing this, I serve on a bunch of other nonprofit boards, and I run a public affairs company that does communications, crisis management, and various other activities. Thanks. I'm glad to be here too.
Mike Smith, I see you next.
Sure. My name is Mike Smith. I'm a gubernatorial appointee, longtime president of Vermont State University. I think this is my 5th week that I've had this job, and this is my first time on this board.
Senator Watson?
Yeah, hello. Senator Ann Watson. I'm also appointed by the Committee on Committees from the Senate. And so when I am not doing that work, I am a high school physics, science and math teacher, which is ongoing right now, but I'm in the last couple of weeks here of the school year, which is exciting. And I'm new to this group, and yeah, I guess that's it.
Thank you. Last but not least, Senator Campion.
Thanks so much. Good to see everybody. Brian Campion, State Senator for Bennington County. I chair Senate Education and serve on the Agriculture Committee and chair Senate Ethics when I'm not involved with legislative work. I am the Director of Public Policy Programs at Bennington College, where I do some teaching and have other administrative responsibilities, where I've been for the last 16, 17 years. So it's great to be here.
Thank you all. That was really helpful for me just to put faces to names. So our first order of business is to vote on officers. Our second order of business is to address the outstanding vacancy question, which is complex, more complex than I meant to address in this meeting. I apologize for that. We will try to work our way through it together. And then finally, we do need to come up with a number of dates over the next several months to address the upcoming vacancies. But before we get there, oh, and I'm sorry, I meant to say also that we have a third attorney member, Sarah, who is not with us. And I've just gotten a text from her. She will be here soon. She had a work emergency she was dealing with. In the meantime, 8 of us does make a quorum. I hope she will forgive us for forging ahead given our limited time that we have, but she will be with us soon. Voting on officers. First, I think we should vote on a chair. As I expressed to you all in an email, I have served in that position. I'm happy to serve in that position again. I'm also happy to train up the next person if anyone would like to take over. I have not orchestrated this portion of the meeting. I will open the floor to motions for any of our members to serve as chair.
I nominate Ella if nobody's going to speak.
I'll second.
Move to.
I was going to second it too. So
I don't do formal votes very often. What happens next? Motion to.
Yes, for
All
discussion.
in favor?
Discussion, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, for any
discussion.
discussion.
Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you all for your
Thank you.
vote of confidence. I am happy, I'm very happy to serve as chair. It has been as much as it is sometimes a headache, it has been a real pleasure to work with this board. And we do important work. Next order of business, we do need to elect a
Ella,
vice. Yep.
I do, since this is a public meeting, I do just want to add that you have been an incredibly effective chair, and the way that we're guided and our rules can be very complicated. And with the number of vacancies and the challenges around that, you have guided us brilliantly. And it's been a lot of work without any or with limited support staff. And so very grateful for that and relieved that you're willing to carry on.
Here,
Thank you,
here.
Denise. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Barbara. That's very kind of you. And it is truly a team effort, the whole thing. It is a lot of work. And I appreciate you all being here and stepping up. And I'm excited to, have so many new members, because I do think it's an exciting time. And I feel very strongly that the work that we do is of incredible importance to the judiciary and to the state and to my profession and to the public at large. So I'm happy to do it, and I am very excited to have you all with me. Thank you. Vice Chair, I believe Jess has expressed her interest in the position. I haven't heard from anyone else. Do I have any motions to nominate anyone for Vice Chair?
I nominate Jess.
I'll second that.
Wonderful. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously, I believe. Yep, there's Barbara's hand. All right, we have a vice chair. Thank you, Jess. Thank you for stepping up. I know it's your very first time on the board, as it is with most of us now. So thanks for your willingness to serve. I'm excited to work with you.
Thank you very much. I do take this very seriously. This impacts a lot of people's lives every day. Who we choose in this role is of utmost importance to some of our most vulnerable population. So I'm really honored, and I'm really excited to learn from Ella, because I know Ella professionally, and I know that you all speak very highly of her, and that's been my experience as well. So I'm excited to help assist her in any way that I can, and I appreciate your vote of confidence for just meeting me. Thank you.
I will say too, Jess is in the trenches of the criminal courts every day in a way that I am largely not, because I mostly work in appeals. And it looks like Sarah is joining us, so I will admit her now. So it's great to have her experience along with mine. And I could say the same of Sarah, who has just joined us. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. Apologies for being late. I got a decision from the court that was very difficult for a client at 4:15. And I had to call her personally, so I'm very sorry to be late.
Completely understood. So far, you have missed a round of introductions, and because 8 of us make a quorum, we did forge ahead with the elections, and so I have been reelected as chair. We have elected Jess Burke as our vice chair. We are about to vote on secretary, and since you did miss the introductions, would you like to tell us your name, what you do for work, and yeah, go ahead.
Hi, sure. I'm Sarah Vangel. I'm an attorney in Brattleboro, Vermont with Costello, Valenti and Gentry. I'm a partner here at the firm. I've been practicing law in Vermont for about 13 years, various different experiences. I did a lot of real estate, real property conveyancing at the beginning of my career. I do some criminal defense work. I do some civil litigation. I'm dipping my toe into family law. So a little bit of everything. Practice in a lot of courts and in front of a lot of different judges. I live in towns with my family. My daughter Ava is actually here with me right now. And yeah.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm so glad you could join us. I know this was a time that was difficult for you to make, so I appreciate it all around.
Sure, no problem.
All right. So moving on to election of our secretary. The only interest I've seen in terms of the secretary position thus far is I think Ken mentioned, suggested Barbara for the position. I have not heard that anyone else is interested.
I'd like to nominate Barbara Rachelson.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I have a small floor speech talking about how much I appreciate Barbara's work, but I'm going to pass. I think everybody knows how great she'll be.
Thank you. She has been a wonderful, wonderful dedicated member of the board thus far. I am very confident in her. Anyone else, or shall we have a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, we have our officers. Thank you all. That's the easy part. So the next item of business is something that came to my attention really just yesterday in talking to Judge Zone. And I sent you all a long email about this. I hope you have had the chance to read it. By way of summary, as brief as I can make it, last December, the old version of the board sent the governor names for 4 vacancies. So the board did its part. The way the nominating board operates, for those of you who are new, as a review, our main body of work is to screen applicants for judicial vacancies. We receive applications, we review the applications, we conduct interviews for everyone who applies to be a judge. And then we decide amongst ourselves by majority vote who we believe is well qualified. There's a bit more to the process than that, but I'm summarizing here. We send names of the well-qualified applicants to the governor. We do this for every single vacancy that comes up. And our rules do require us to interview every applicant for every vacancy every time. So in December, the board did that. We did that for 4 vacancies. We sent the governor a list of names. As of today, he has only appointed 2 of those vacancies. So 2 of them remain outstanding. In talking to Judge Zone, I understand that there will be 3 more judicial vacancies coming our way very soon. This is not unexpected. And that those vacancies basically overlap with the 2 outstanding vacancies that we screened for in December. Judge Zone's ask is that this board consider basically opening up those outstanding vacancies to new applicants in our notice that we will send out soliciting applications for these new vacancies. And he asked us to do that because he understands that part of the holdup is that the governor is struggling with the list that he already has in terms of making an appointment. The question becomes, what is fair to those applicants that have already made the list? What is a fair process moving forward? Do we want to do this at all? Understanding that this board is majority new and did not interview these candidates to begin with. And so the question before us is, are we willing to re-advertise these vacancies? And if so, how do we approach the folks that have already basically passed the board's process for essentially these same seats back in December? Are there questions?
I have one.
Yeah.
We're going to have 5 openings for judges and 1 PUC besides.
There is also, I didn't address this in my email, but there is also an opening for the PUC chair, which I understand is going to come our way. I haven't gotten notice of that from the governor. The process always begins when the governor sends me a letter saying, please begin the nominating board process for this vacancy. So I haven't gotten that notice yet from the governor for the PUC chair. I understand that's coming as well. So that also goes to the question of, do we want to tell the applicants that have already been essentially approved by the old board for these positions that they don't need to reapply, that their names will be passed along to the governor for the new positions as well? Yeah.
So I wonder if we opt not to open up the candidate pool for the 22, for the 2 that were already sent to the governor. What is the next step? Like, can the governor just keep those unappointed and vacant, I guess?
Well, that's the question. So the way it's supposed to work, we send him a list for every vacancy. It's usually a different list each time, different people apply. And he is supposed to appoint from that list. There have been times in the past when, not just with this governor, but with governors before him on both sides of the aisle, when the governor has not liked the list. Usually the complaint is that the list is too short. And there have been times when the governor has come directly to the board and said, please send me more names. That hasn't happened here. This is a request from Judge Zone about will we essentially consider doing that. Historically, when the governor has asked us to reopen the list, the board has had an independent process. We've had a public meeting about it. We've taken comment. We've discussed it amongst ourselves, and then we voted, because it's not clear in statute or in rule whether the governor has that authority to ask us to reopen the list.
Barbara,
I think it is pretty clear.
I'm wondering, just so you know, Barbara's been trying to talk there for a little bit.
I see your hand, Barbara. Thank you. Thank you, Brad. I do think it's clear that the board in rule and in practice has the authority to decide to do this, to suspend our own rules. Yeah, Barbara.
So I've been thinking about this since getting your email, and I'm wondering, we only heard this from Judge Zone and not from the governor. So usually if the governor wants, more names or is not happy with the list, there's a communication. And so for us to grant Judge Zone's request, it seems like we're making an assumption that the governor has in fact decided he is not going to appoint, and not that he's still considering. And so unless there's some clear communication from the governor saying, no, I am not going to appoint the other 2 from this list, I'm just concerned that we're overstepping, not following the process, and that Judge Zone really should be making his request to the governor, who would then make a communication with us.
That's a fair point.
I also agree with that.
Yeah.
It feels like the communication should be coming from the governor. And we don't know what his rationale or what his intentions are until we hear from him directly.
Yeah, I agree with both of those comments as well.
Yeah, Ken.
So just to be clear for everybody that's new here, usually we see a lot of the same names over and over again every time. So more than likely, regardless, as long as we're following the guidelines, and Ella's great with that, I don't really care. More than likely, if they're not picked or we don't do that, we're still going to see those names again. So if it's proper protocol to have them go, that's fine. I don't think we need to interview again, not taking away anything from the the new members on here, but the past members, I have a lot of faith in the job they did and stuff, and I'm quite comfortable with that.
Yeah, Jess.
Quick counterpoint. I think having been in court every day, our judiciary is in a lot of trouble, very serious trouble. And we have a really significant backlog, and we have some judges that are really overworked, doing the best they can. So if we had some type of confirmation that the governor was reticent to select from the list, I would be willing and would advocate to open it back up, because I think it's really important to get qualified applicants before the governor and have them appointed as quickly as possible. I completely agree with everything that everyone else has said. That is not where we are at this point, but just want to throw that out there, that this is a really stressed system at this point in time. And yeah.
That's a great point, Jess. And on that point, I think where Judge Zone is coming from is, he has the historical perspective that when the governor has made a strong stand and said, I need more names, it has caused a fair amount of stress on the system, I guess, because then we have this big debate about whether the governor has that authority and whether he's respecting the nominating board. And you can go back and look through local articles that have been written about it, including the most recent time that this happened with Governor Scott. And I think Judge Zone is hoping to just get people appointed as quickly as possible and to maybe avoid some of the politics that surround that by suggesting that the board does it of its own accord. I'm adding that to the counterpoint. I don't have strong feelings.
Another clarifying question. In the past, when the said governor asked for more names, do they explain why they weren't happy, or is it just give me more names?
Sometimes, yeah. It depends on the governor. I have only lived through this process once, but I know it's happened. I mean, I think it happened back in decades ago. I think it's happened maybe a handful of times since 2000. I looked into the history at one point. The most recent time, the one that I was personally a part of, I think there was an explanation that it was a very short list, 2 or 3 names. I think there was a request for more women to be on that list. I can't remember if there were other explanations or not.
Do we know who has been sent up? Is that something that we, as this present board, can know?
So it's confidential to the public. If we were in our meetings after we receive applications are confidential. So if we are in a confidential meeting, I think we can talk about the history there. I wouldn't want to base their decision on who was or wasn't on that list or who does or doesn't apply.
Of course. I guess I was thinking more numbers. Like, is it like the governor only has?
The numbers are public.
Okay. So I should have rephrased the question.
Yes.
Rephrased the question. Okay. Yes. So we think that he is, well, we actually can't make any assumptions, really.
We have had no communication from him on this.
Okay.
If the board,
That's what I'm struggling with that, because we have had no communication from him directly to kind of make assumptions based on what we think Judge Zone's kind of rationale is, which makes sense. It all makes sense, but it's all still assumptions.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Very good point.
And can I add that I think we all agree that the courts are incredibly stressed. The backlog is awful. Depending on what happens with the budget, there's yet another judge position that the legislature tried to fund. But I think Judge Zone needs to have that conversation with the governor as well, because again, the names were sent in December and it's out of our hands after we send the names up to the governor until we hear back from the governor. So we can all think of great ways to improve the system, but short of rule changes and law changes. And if we were wrong about that, I think if I were the governor, I would not be happy that an assumption was made incorrectly. So I'm struggling with those aspects.
Sure. Any other thoughts? Are we?
Yeah, so I'm feeling a little torn about this question. Knowing that the system is under stress, it does make me want to just try to move forward. The other thing that I'm thinking about is that there are, I guess I'm okay with opening it up to new, like the old positions to new applicants, just because I think having a bigger pool is not a bad thing, and giving everybody the opportunity to have a shot at those positions. I think, I guess that would be okay with me. Like I think you might get, I'm sure the old applicants were fabulous, but having a bigger pool is, I think, okay.
Yeah. Also valid.
Would the folks that had gone up before, I guess maybe this is the second part of your question, would they stay? And what do we tell them?
Right. So the trickier part of the question to me, I think the do we or don't we sort of reopen the list for these outstanding vacancies is in some ways the kind of straightforward part. Either you, yes or no. The trickier part is for the folks whose names have been sent up for these vacancies that are still outstanding. Is it fair to them to say, I mean, I don't think this board can say you're not qualified. I don't think there's any question that, we're going to take away from that list. But given that there are new vacancies opening up in exactly the same areas, does this board then say, okay, we agree, you can be qualified for those new vacancies as well, given that you're still on the list? Do we say, no, you have to reapply for those vacancies, even though people who are applying now can be eligible for the one you applied for and the new one? I think that is trickier.
Well, Ella, this is Denise. I think if we're going to go down the path of adding to the list, then the right thing to do is to make it one pool for all of the vacancies versus trying to do anything with either group. Again, if this issue is more names to add to this growing list of vacancies, and we want to create, and we want to the extent we control any of this, which is very limited, by our own timeline, if we want to contribute to it in whatever way we can to expediting this process, in hopes that vacancies can get filled, I think we would just, again, I think we would treat this as adding to the existing pool for all of the existing vacancies.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I sort of echo what Denise said too, recognizing that I'm new and I don't fully understand how the vacancies work, but it seems to me that the two vacancies in the same geographical area are essentially the same vacancy, right? It's the same job description that they're applying for. It's just two in the same area, unless I'm totally off base with that. So if I'm on the right track with that, I think what Denise said makes a lot of sense. We're just getting a bigger pool of candidates for all the open vacancies.
Yeah. Thanks. I should say too, I mentioned this in my email, but the old board did also approve a new set of rules that will make it easier in the future for applicants who have recently been deemed well qualified to just reapply without needing to go through another interview process. Those rules haven't taken effect yet. They're still going through the ICAR and the LCAR process. But that piece of it, we will not continue to struggle with in the future. The question of what to do with vacancies that are still outstanding is frankly sort of a new one.
So maybe what would be helpful, at least for me as a new person, would you back up a little bit, tell us how many vacancies are open,
Yes.
what the pool is, where those vacancies are located, give us some more background.
Sure. So let's see. We reviewed for 4 vacancies in December. Sorry, I don't have this. I'm referring to multiple documents here. I believe what happened is the governor appointed for 2 of those vacancies. One was in the Chittenden area and one was in, I think, the Windsor Orange area.
Okay, so when you say vacancies, can you tell us the title of the position?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. These are for Superior Court judges.
Okay, both were Superior Court judges.
All of the positions we've been talking
All
about
of
so
them.
far are
Everything.
Superior Court judges.
So there's 4 vacancies in December.
There were 4 vacancies in December.
Okay.
2 were appointed, 2
2 were
remain
not.
vacant. The 2 that remain vacant, I believe, are in. I might be getting this wrong. I don't want to give you bad information on a public meeting. Hold on. Okay, I think the 2 that remain vacant are in the Washington area, Washington County area, and I want to say the Wyndham Windsor area.
And they've been vacant for how long?
They've been vacant for many months because they were vacant before we started our process in December. They've probably been vacant for a good year now.
Okay, and has there been any conversation, any communication from the governor at all about those vacancies? Just that they're open, I mean, nothing at all. Just that he hasn't chosen the judges or the people, the candidates that have been put forward.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Does this committee usually reach out to the governor? Is there that kind of correspondence? Does that ever happen saying, do we ever take a role, or is it just more passive? We just sort of sit and.
Typically, the communication with the governor is very formal. We receive the letter saying commence your process.
Yep.
We go through our process. We are, as you can tell, quite independent of every branch of government. We're designed that way, for better and worse, because we have no administrative support. And we finish our process. We send him a formal letter with the names of the applicants that we've approved and their applications. And that is largely the sum total of our correspondence. I will occasionally have slightly less formal email chains with Chief Judge Zone and Jay Johnson, the governor's counsel, as Judge Zone is notifying the governor that that the judiciary would like to fill their vacancies.
And we should, well, I'd like to add that we also don't get a letter from the governor saying I've appointed X, Y, and Z. Usually we learn about it when there's a press release.
Okay.
So, yeah.
The governor just appointed his last judge not too long ago for Orange Wyndham, right? I mean, that was, I mean, time flies, but what was that, a month, 6 months, 6 weeks ago?
The 2 that he appointed from the January batch were 2 months ago, month and a half ago.
Yeah, it wasn't
Something
very
like
long.
Yep, that's true. So I'm conscious of the time and the fact that the Capitol Police will be throwing us out, I'm told, shortly after 5:30. Are we ready to vote on the question of Judge Zone's request to us? Whether to re-advertise these vacancies? Yeah, I see Senator Norris, Mike Smith, and then Denise.
Yeah, Ella, is it commonplace if there's 2 vacancies to simply send the governor 2 names and no more? Because when in fact a Senate position or representative position becomes open, he asks the party to send him 3 names and he chooses the individual to fill that vacancy. So would it be uncommon for us if he had 2 positions to say, send like 6 names and put the burden of him making a decision as to which names he wants to select? He does that with representatives and senators.
It's a great question. It's an entirely different process. And our statute requires us to send him names of every candidate that we find well qualified. So there's no minimum, there's no maximum. It's just on us to look at the candidates that have applied and decide who is well qualified and who is not.
Okay, so I know Mike's got his hand up, whatever else. I guess when we vote, I want to know exactly what we're voting on, Ella. What Judge Zone's request is, I guess.
It's a great question. What is it? Yeah, what question is going to be on the table?
That was my question too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Mike, I'm jumping out of turn here, but we can vote on Judge Zone's request or we can vote on how we'd like to approach this.
Absolutely. Yes, I will take motions. As I framed it in my email to you all, the question is, will the board agree to Judge Zone's request to allow new applicants to be considered for the old vacancies? And if the answer to that is yes, then we have to decide what's fair to the old applicants as well.
Sorry, Mike, I interrupted you.
No,
Mike,
that's okay. That happens all the time, by the way.
That's directed at me, by the way.
Yes.
Okay.
Being new, I don't know all the ins and outs of this, but it just seems to me that we would keep it simple. Let's just roll all into one list and send it up with the old names and the new ones. That's so I'm uncertain what the vote would be on, just like the senator. I'm uncertain what the vote would be, what the motion is here, because I mean, my preference would be just roll it all into one list, send it up, and the old and new, and we're done.
I think it would be fair to leave the 2 present names that are in there because they were vetted by this board, and the board is certainly capable of doing what they've been proposed. And Mike, just as a secondary thing, you're not that new, okay? So.
Yeah, Jess, and then Ken.
Just briefly want to make sure I understand what we are proposing, because I think I would support this, that if we're saying that basically we're combining the vacancies into 2 vacancies instead of 1, so that it's like you are the benefit to a person who's already applied and been found well qualified would be that they would automatically go to the governor again on this new vacancy in their region.
Right.
The downside is that the prior the prior pool would now be opened further. That is that like more or less correct?
Yeah, the prior pool is open further because it hasn't been filled yet.
Okay.
So we would be acting.
That seems reasonable.
Kind of expensive. So, yeah, Ken.
Well, two things. The pool usually isn't that big, and a lot of them are reoccurring names, right? But the other thing is I hope people aren't confused. The governor's got more than 2 names up there that he's already looking at.
Yeah.
So
this is true.
So it's. I'm all in favor. Those names stay there. We add to the pool and let him decide. because the governor is well aware of that we have a big need to fill these positions and they're not being done. So, but I don't want to take away from those names that we've already sent up. We really don't gain anything by taking them away. So that's my.
That is a good point, Ken. Senator Watson?
Yeah, thank you. So just thinking about the process here, because you have two questions, right? Like one is, do we allow new applicants to be considered for old vacancies? And then separate from that, do we consider the successful prior candidates for the new vacancies? And so one path forward is if we wanted to think about it as 5 vacancies, like pool them all together, then we could have those 2 separate questions. It's just that the answer is yes to both of them. Or we have a new question, which is consider the total vacancies, and that everyone has a shot at all of the positions, both prior candidates and new candidates. And so anyway, I just wanted to call that out as like 2 potential paths forward to answer the question. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is that, if we do that, because one of the things that you had asked is like, well, if we do allow new candidates to apply for the old positions, what do we tell the old candidates? Well, and I think the answer is obvious if we go this route, which is that, well, they have an automatic shot at the new positions. So it's just, we're all
disqualifying them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. Are we or are we not giving them an automatic shot at the new positions? And it sounds like if we are doing this, it sounds like the folks are thinking that is a fair way to go. Yeah. Sorry, did I cut you off, Senator Watson?
No, that was it. Yep, thanks.
Thank you. Denise?
Yeah, I'm just thinking this through procedurally, and I think if that's the case and our new rules are not in place, we are in a position of needing to interview every candidate that applies for these new vacancies, regardless of whether they were found not to be well qualified in the last round.
Correct.
But that has nothing to do with the names that we sent out. I mean, we're dealing with 2 different things. We're dealing with the ones that have already been sent up. They're there. That doesn't mean they're any more qualified or not. It's just we're not going to go through the process again. We're going to interview
New candidates and just add them to the list that the governor already has.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, I'm just flagging that we wouldn't be treating the entire pool of prior applicants the same way.
Yes.
We're just saying if you're found well qualified, you stay in the well qualified bucket,
Right.
with the governor. And if you applied last time and your name was not sent up, we would still interview you again.
correct. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Are we ready for a motion? Sorry to rush you all, but time is ticking. Would anyone care to make a motion?
I just have a quick question.
Yeah, Senator Norris.
How many vacancies are there presently?
So there will be 3 Superior Court vacancies coming shortly
Yeah.
that are new. And there will be 1 PUC chair vacancy, which is a separate issue.
Okay, so you sent up 4 nominees for 2 positions the last time, and 2 of them did
No.
not get appointed. No.
No, sorry. There were 4 vacancies last time. We
Yep.
sent up a long list of names. I want to say it was maybe 15 names.
Yes.
The most we've ever sent
I
up.
think it was about 15 names. Some of those applicants had applied for multiple positions, which is why I can't tell you exactly how many are still available to be appointed for each position, but it was many more than 2. It was, 4 or 5 at least for each position.
So I would think, Ella, that if they're still interested, they would still at least have to reapply rather than us just leaving the names up there and they say, well, I don't want this job. You overlooked me the last time. I don't want it no more. So at least they'd have to apply. They may have to be vetted again through the system, but they still have to show that they're still interested in the positions themselves. That makes sense.
Are you saying they would apply, but we wouldn't need to interview them again? Like they'd need to indicate their interest?
At the very least, they have to indicate that they're still interested. Yes.
Got it.
Aren't their applications already with the government? Like unless they withdrew their application, like they're still, yeah.
I'm happy to check in with the previous applicants and confirm that they're still interested. I've done that in the past when the board has voted to suspend our rules like this.
I think that's right.
And the other thing that I've done in the past is we run a criminal background check on all the applicants, and I've had that redone before I send the new list. And I've asked the applicants whether they have anything to add to their old application, and I passed along that information as well.
And Ella, I would suggest that you kind of confirm which vacancies they're interested in filling, to the extent that the geographies overlap.
Yep.
In some instances and not all of them, and that could be a challenge as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, I believe the geography is the same for the old and the new positions. But I would ask all of the successful applicants from last time whether they were interested in any of the new vacancies. To be clear, that would be my proposal anyway.
Great. Perfect.
Okay.
And then I would just add, Ella, I think this is feeling, I'm happy to support whatever moves forward. This is not feeling, I mean, you've got a lot of new members here. I think some background and some orientation would be helpful to everybody. Advancing this today, again, is okay with me, but it's not feeling as organized as I'd like it to be, with everybody sort of on the same page, understanding vacancies, understanding sort of the landscape of the state. So let's sort of regroup at some point and offer that up to new folks, if you don't mind.
Completely understood and agreed, Senator Campion. In fact, my preference and the way I had planned this meeting was to go from voting on officers to scheduling our next meeting at which we would have an orientation.
And I think, unless I misread your email, I'm not sure if you wanted to even vote today. Could I'm not sure. Maybe go ahead.
The reason that I'm asking the board to consider this without having gone through the orientation, and yes, I am hoping to have a vote very soon today, is because the very next thing that needs to happen is that we need to issue the notice of vacancy, which allows us to gather applications. And that notice of vacancy needs to say what vacancies we're considering. And we issue that a good 2 months usually before we do the interviews. And so delaying that will delay our entire process. Because we need to start collecting applications now so that we can be interviewing people in 2 months.
So we would put an ad out that would list the 2 vacancies, if that's the motion, that the governor has not told us.
It will list the 3 vacancies that we have, and it will say applicants to these vacancies that overlap with the outstanding ones from last time will be considered for the outstanding vacancies from last time. Independently, I would contact the folks from last time and do the things that I just itemized, confirm their interest, ask for any updates, run an updated background check. I see Senator Watson's hand, and then we really have to vote. I'm sorry, folks.
We'll get kicked out.
Yeah, no, I was going to make a motion. So yeah, I would, my motion has 2 parts. I would move that we allow new applicants to be considered for old vacancies. And I would add to that, that successful candidates from the December 2022 time be considered for the new vacancies without the need to reapply and re-interview.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, should we take this motion in two parts?
Up to you.
Or all at once?
No, we don't need to.
Okay,
One motion.
all at once. All right.
Just ask if
Those-
there's any discussion.
Any discussion, folks? Thank you for keeping me on the straight and narrow. All right. All those in favor of Senator Watson's motion, say aye and raise your hand.
Hi.
Motion passes, looks like unanimously. Thank you, guys. And
Minutes of
again,
that, in case you need them.
what's that?
I just took minutes of this in case you need that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Barbara. I actually didn't see a vote from Sarah. I don't know if she's still with us. Sarah, give a shout if you would like your vote counted
Yes,
on.
I'm here, and I'm an I also. Sorry.
Great, thank you. No, thank you for confirming.
And who seconded? I'm sorry.
I did. That was
Jess.
Jess.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm already slipping up.
Okay, thank you, folks. That was, again, not how I would have preferred to hold that vote, but I really appreciate you all sticking with it. I can tell this group is going to be totally thoughtful, and I think this bodes really well. So I appreciate that. Moving right along to scheduling that orientation meeting, first of all, and second of all, interview dates. So I'd like to set aside one day for orientation. It will comprise a number of parts. Happy to go over those with you all later. And then I think we're going to need probably at least 3 days for the Superior Court interviews, and I want to say maybe 2 days for the PUC chair interviews. Order to be decided depending on how I get the notice from the governor. So if you could all please pull out your calendars. And
What is PUC?
oh, PUC is the Public Utility Commission.
Okay.
We will go over that during our orientation. So please pull out your calendars. I am going to start going through week by week, starting with the week of June 19th.
I'm sorry, does this is this the best way to do it, or should we just do a doodle poll? I mean,
Honestly,
yeah.
This happens to be the best way to do it.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you, Denise.
yeah, I agree.
Sorry, Ella, and I just want, just to be clear, we're just looking for one day right now for orientation.
Yes, the first day we schedule is going to be orientation, but I'm going to try and do it where you rule days out for me. So tell me I'm not available the week of the 19th, and we'll skip straight to the next week.
And does orientation have to be in person, or can we do that virtually?
And is it a day? Is it an hour? How long are we
Great
talking?
question. It's a day. I
Okay.
had imagined it to be in person, but I'm open to trying some hybrid format. We can't necessarily use the legislature's great setup, which is the best hybrid format we have for our orientation. So my preference would be in person, but open to discussion on that.
So, I mean,
yeah.
I know you know this, but like I work full time. I know a lot of us do, but like we're basically looking for 6 days of, and just for new folks,
Yep.
this is not a multitasking enabling activity. And
Thank
so
you.
it's just like it's like all in, you have to be paying attention for the entire day.
Duty.
So you lose a full day of work.
Thank you,
So
Denise.
6 days just feels like a lot. That's all.
It's a lot to schedule all at once. They will be spread out. So the orientation day will be the earliest day. I'm hoping to do that like maybe in a month or so. And then the interview days, the earliest we can schedule those is 2 months out. And then we can stagger them from there. So it's not like a full 6 days altogether.
No, I'm just saying.
All right. So looking for one day in about a month's time. Optimistically, I'm going to start the week of June 19th. That's only 2 weeks time. But I'm just going to start there on the off chance.
realize what's going on that week.
That's veto session week.
There we go. We're not going to do that week.
That's Tuesday through Thursday, so Monday and Friday are possibilities. I'll just.
I think we're going to be here
All
Friday.
right, we'll skip the 19th. The week of the 26th.
No,
Nope, whole week.
a week
Okay, all right.
and the following week.
And the following week.
Sorry.
Okay, moving into July. See, this goes really fast. Moving into July, week of July 10th.
I'm afraid I am not available those 3 weeks in July, 10th, 17th, or 24th. Can start in August.
Okay.
And the 9th through the 16th, I'm gone as well.
Is that of July or August?
July.
Okay. So moving into August, it looks like this week starts actually July 31st.
I could do virtual possibly. I'm out of state.
Virtual for Ray. The day of July 31st.
No.
Are we all, I'm hearing a no from Brian. Okay. What about August 1st?
I could do that virtually.
Virtually. Yep. Understood.
No, I can start August 7th is the first week I can be available.
Okay. So starting August 7th, the day of August 7th.
I'm gone that whole week.
Whole week. Okay.
Yeah, summer.
And here we go.
This is why it's better in person to do this.
Exactly. This doodle poll would have taken you this long
Yeah.
alone.
Also, Ella would have quit already, so.
The fact that I haven't already, Denise, I don't know what that says about me.
I know.
All right.
No, you're great.
The week of August 14th.
How about the 15th,
We-
16th?
All here on the 15th and the 16th of August.
I cannot do the 16th, but I can do the 15th.
I am
Okay.
not sure if I am around, but I don't know if you need returning members to be there.
Yes, I do.
You do. Okay.
Yeah. At this point, yeah. Okay, Barbara, you're not sure if you're around. Is everyone else around other than Barbara?
I am.
The week of
I can watch
August?
the movie.
Okay.
So the 15th, we
The
said?
15th, please hold that day.
I have a merits hearing, VOP merits hearing at 3:00, but otherwise in Franklin County, but otherwise I'm available.
Okay. I think we can do it with most of the day. We can let you go early.
Okay.
Am I hearing that, were folks available on the 14th?
Yep.
I'm not.
You're not. Ray is not. Okay. But you are available on the 15th. And how about the 16th?
Yes.
No, I can't do the
No,
16th.
that's right. You said no. Okay. How about the 17th?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
I am likely to be away for those 2 weeks. So it's
Okay.
too bad we didn't like all get together and figure out when we were all taking time off so that we could have coordinated.
I wish. Okay. So I'm going to say the orientation is the 15th. And Barbara, when are you back?
I don't know yet. But definitely by the 27th.
Yeah, the 28th is the next availability for me.
Okay. Folks available on the 28th?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
No.
August 28th.
August, yep. I'm seeing a no from Senator Watson. How about the 29th?
Yeah.
Are you out that week, Senator Watson?
Well, so that is the beginning of the next school year for me. And so it gets complicated. And I need to pull up the next school year's district calendar. So that's going to take me a second here. Didn't realize we were going to be looking so far out, but
Orientation.
usually we're back in session, and I think I could probably, it's just a matter of whether or not I can get excused sort of time off, if that makes sense. I should be able to, but it might be, it'll be a conversation I need to have, so.
Okay. Tentatively then, is that going to be true for the whole school year, essentially?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right.
That is going to be so challenging for you because we're typically like a Monday, Tuesday, or a Wednesday, Thursday, or a Thursday, Friday.
Oh, gosh. And it's like the whole day.
Yeah. And
Oh,
you
man.
can't I'm just going to emphasize here, you can't multitask.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
she can't. Yeah, that's, your job
No,
is
there's
not one that you could do
Right.
when you're not there anyway.
Right.
Right. And, I have floated weekends before. It has never gone over well. But yeah, these are like full day. Once we're interviewing, 20 candidates.
I'm happy to do weekends.
I'm happy also.
This is so important. This has,
Okay.
Weekends are great.
Weekends are great. Okay. All right. Let's talk weekends. How about?
Wait.
I can feel Ken's energy.
Yes.
I can feel Ken's energy in the room.
You were trying to ignore it, maybe?
I wasn't thrilled about it. Ken, is it physically possible for you to do a weekend?
Only if I have to.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just got weekends are really hard for me too. I've got 2 little
Got it.
kids, a full-time job. I barely have time with them during the week.
That's
Weekends are
fair.
really tough.
That's completely.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why, so when we're voting and we're interviewing and all this stuff, I think in person is very important. The orientation, that August 15th, I don't know why people can't zoom in on that to make that a little easier.
I just need to figure out the hybrid setup, Ken. I don't have that access to it currently, but I can probably work with the judiciary to figure it out.
Okay.
I just don't have it.
And then the other thing is just 3 days in a row. I would think it's probably better, except for Senator Watson. I know my days are better Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but
It's 3 days in a row.
I'm just looking for 3 days. They can be 3 Mondays in a row. They can be,
It would be much better for me if it's not 3 days.
I'm trying to schedule it. Usually we do like 2 days at a time and then take a break. So they don't have to be
I
3
could do
days in a
2.
row.
I mean, I could do 3 if I had to, but.
Yeah, understood. It's a lot. It's a lot of time.
2 and then another.
So assuming we can work something out with Senator Watson, the week of August 28th, are we all available on the 28th?
No.
No.
Definitely all day.
29th?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm seeing nods. Okay, please hold the 29th. And how about the 30th?
Yes.
It depends what time I teach that day.
it's a killer week.
Okay. Please hold the 29th and the 30th. I will not try to make you do 3 days in a row. So I will move to the next week. Well, how about Friday, September 1st?
Do that.
No.
Nope.
That's a crazy week in everybody's life. That's basically the last weekend of summer, right?
It's the first day of school on the 30th, but I have an 8th grader, she'll with me.
All right, moving to the first full week in September. September 4th is Labor Day. I'm going to guess that's not a popular day to schedule nominating board interviews. How about the 5th?
That works.
How about the 6th?
I can't do the 6th.
Okay, can you all do the 5th? No, I'm seeing a no from Mike. I understand. Anne, I'm sorry.
How about the 7th?
Figure it out.
Okay,
I could do
how
the
about
7th.
how about the 7th?
I can do the 7th.
Yes, yes,
Possibly.
Yep.
possibly. Okay, please hold the 7th. I will send this out in an email. And how about the 8th?
No,
No? Okay.
sorry. My son's getting married that weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
Sorry, Ella, I can't do the 7th. I'm struggling going back and forth between Zoom and the calendar on my phone.
Oh,
So I'm a
that's
little
all
slow
right.
on the draw, but
Okay.
I can't do the 7th.
Forget about the 7th.
7th is gone.
I am out the 11th through the 13th for a conference. How about the 14th of September? Yes?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. How about the 15th?
Yes.
Yes?
I think so, hold on.
Two calendars.
So, yes.
Great. Okay, please hold the 14th and the 15th. Okay, and then I hope we won't need this. But how about Monday, the 18th?
Yep.
No,
No from Mike.
I got a
Okay.
board of trustees meeting that day.
No problem. September 19th.
Yes.
Yeah. Nope.
It's a 2-day board meeting. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. How
And
about
then I got a conference the rest of the 3 days that week.
okay.
Guys, I have to jump off, I'm afraid. I have another meeting.
Okay.
Only scheduled an hour for this. I apologize, so I'll look for the
Yes.
email.
Sounds good. All right,
Thanks.
let's.
Look for your 24 calendar because you'll need it.
It's true.
Exactly.
All right, let's stop there. We also have to leave the State House. Thank you all. I'm sorry this was as hectic as it was. I really appreciate you hanging in there.
Thanks,
We will
Ella.
talk soon.
Thank you.
Great.
Rich. Bye.
Bye, folks. Nice to meet all of you.
Off.